Great evening on the Turnbuckle Bandwagon. We're another episode of TBW Deep Dives. Last one was done with Killian McMurphy over Sonic. This week, we're getting into something I'm a huge fan of and my guest is a huge fan of. Big Dust. We're going to get deep on Mass Effect. Not super deep, but deep enough to discuss the series. What are your general feelings on Mass Effect as a franchise and a game and a universe?
Mass Effect as a franchise and as a universe, not even talking about the games, I think is the best sci-fi. It is sci-fi incarnate. It is just everything that all the good bits of the Star Wars and the Star Trek, and they just fuse it together in this really interesting way.
That's how I feel about it. Before we get into that, little bit of wrestling question. Folks know you from Camp Leapfrog and other things. You are a manager, but I feel like that's not an adequate enough term because you have to wrangle the goons. Killian McMurphy, Eel O'Neill, Miles. How do you just wrangle that chunk of humans?
Well, when it comes to the goons, Killian and the fellas, they're a bit abrasive. All right, I won't lie. And but the thing is, so am I. I think of myself. I think the main thing that comes in line is we're all on the same page. I think of myself less of a advocate, less of a manager, less of a valet, and more so as a friend to the people that I accompany at ringside. So I think that partnership right there is what keeps the goons focused and prepared for battle.
Gotcha. Friend, consultant, consigliere, very Robert Duvall and Godfather type.
Oh, absolutely.
That's kind of how I see it. But now let's get into
Read me like a book.
That's how I see it. I love the manager role, and people do different cool things with it. Even people felt that wrestling managers weren't quote unquote needed, but as wrestling has changed, that role changes. And
yes,
you do a solid job with that. There are a couple of others, folks like Selena De La Renta do a great job with it. That folks up here in New England, guys like Stokely Hathaway before he moved on. It's a solid role. Absolutely. And if you make it your own, what you do with the goons, I think is great stuff.
I appreciate that.
All right, now let's get into Mass Effect. First game.
All right.
Okay, 2007. I remember this was announced, I believe, at an E3, but it was really, they didn't kind of reveal too much. But I remember seeing like print ads for this game. Like BioWare put a lot into this new IP. It was going to be sci-fi. And I didn't pick it up sight unseen, but I picked it up thinking, hey, I like sci-fi. Let's give it a go. What were your thoughts on the first game and getting into that?
I first discovered Mass Effect through Steam, which is I discovered it through there, and they had one of their famous ludicrous Steam sales where like their whole entire library would go on for like cheap as hell. And I got Mass Effect 1 and 2 for like $15.
Nice.
And I was like, I was relatively young. I have heard about Mass Effect because through the internet you hear like the shepherd will bang okay. I knew that before I got to playing the first game. But from what I did know was Coder. I did know Coder, surprisingly. The people that worked on Coder, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, went from Coder, picked up the scraps into Mass Effect.
Yeah. That was, for those who may not know, Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic, which is kind of where BioWare kind of like announced themselves to the gaming world. Been a while since I played that. I don't know if that's ever. It's
age is like shit. Age is really bad, but super enjoyable.
I mean, the first game was it, and it does a fair amount of world building very quickly. They give you the prologue. We're 100 or so years in the future, 2156, I think, 57.
Talks about the whole entire discovery of the Protheans on is it Mars or is it the moon? I think it's Mars.
It's Mars. The first artifacts are found on Mars.
Yes, that's found on Mars, which advances the entire human race up to the point where they're starting to go farther outside the galaxy. And then they find the mass relay, which they call the Mass Effect.
Yep. Ships use it to travel. They briefly touch on the First Contact War. That's more on the Codex stuff.
Yes,
Um,
I be loving the first contact war though. Ooh, I have one of the books that's on it somewhere here. I forget the name of it, but big fan of that.
yeah, for the First Contact War was the war between the Turians and the humans, which was the first alien species humanity made contact with, and didn't get along so well.
No.
Back and forth protracted fighting where I think this is a couple hundred, this is 100 or so years, I believe, post that, or 50. It's been a while.
It's been a good bit, yes.
Yeah, I mean, we start the game kind of in one of the best ships in sci-fi, the Normandy.
It is like I will talk about it more when we get to the exact scene. I think it's in Mass Effect 2. No, it isn't 1 where you can defend the Normandy to the Alliance people that take it over and are like, "Hey, we're doing some maintenance. We don't need you to leave." And the best part about the Normandy to me and why I think it's the best ship in sci-fi is that when you're talking from a world building aspect and a plot point aspect, it is less so just a badass ship, which it definitely is,
Yeah.
but it's more so a statement on humanity and how far they've come in making peace with all these races like the Turians, because the Normandy was built hand in hand with Turians.
Yeah. You're on board with a Turian. They got Keith David voicing Captain Anderson, who that man can voice over anything, and I'd be in. You're being evaluated. Apparently, this other Turian is there. You introduce Kay Nolenko and Ashley Williams are introduced fairly quickly. You find this before you find the artifact, the Turian guy, I always forget his name.
Saren.
Oh, okay. He is murdered by the
Oh
villain.
wait, no, not Saren.
Saren's the villain. I forget the other guy's name. I should have looked it up and done my research, but
that's my bad. I should have.
It's my bad too. Basically, he identifies Saren. Saren is a Spectre, which is this special tactics unit within the Citadel, which is the overreaching governing body of the galaxy. And we find, hey, Saren's the bad guy right away. Boom, he's murdering people. Shepard ventures through, fights the Geth. And again, more world building. You see that, the Geth are this robotic race who are have been hiding for 200 years. No one's seen them since.
And they just pop up all of a sudden on a human colony, Eden Prime.
Eden Prime, which is one of humanity's more expansive colonies.
Yes.
Fight the Geth. You find this artifact. And the fun part in playing the first game is that you have no idea what you're seeing. Like, they don't really lay anything out. There's nothing pops up in the codex. You just see this Prothean relic. You see all these images, and then your character wakes up and like, okay, what the happened?
I remember first playing the game, and when you get to that moment, it's very well done. Like from a cinematic standpoint, it's a very good shell shock, and the whole Prothean artifact is such a good plot device to drive the first game along as you keep going throughout the story.
Yeah. I mean, you see Saren, he's going to blow up the colony. You disarm that. You see his big ass ship take off, which is called Sovereign. You just know it's a ship. You don't know much else.
You don't know a damn thing about it. You just think it's a scary ass ship.
It is scary. Sovereign is scary.
It is a horrifying ship.
And basically you get yelled at to get your ass back to the Citadel. And then you here's where, like, I think the best part of the world building is that humanity has joined the intergalactic community. There's all these different races, and humanity's like looked at as like we're kind of like the redheaded stepchild. Nobody really wants us around. We're pushy, we're loud. The other races are like, who are y'all, and why do you keep breaking shit?
It is a very much but that's very much too. I give the writing of the entire series a lot of credit, because that's very much human nature to be curious, and sometimes that curious leads to going full force into things, and then full force leads to stubbornness, leads to a lot of conflict. But as you can see in the first game, up to the moment, I mean, Shepard's being looked at after the mission with Saren as a potential Spectre.
But it's also looked at as no one's sure, no one believes you about Saren. They think what happened is your fault, somehow your fault, or you were connected to it. So you don't look great in it right now.
Stories always work well when the character is fighting against something. And there's a lot that Shepard, as you're playing through, is fighting against. But I think the overarching distrust of the whole entire galaxy essentially on what is actually happening. I think that is such a good driving plot, because the whole time you're seeing it as the player, you know what's going on, and you're driving Shepard to make these choices, but people aren't going to listen to you because it's crazy. Why would Saren do that? He's a Spectre. He's good people.
He's good people. You know, we've selected him. It's that whole like the structure, the establishment has like, we've selected him to be our best. You're this random, you're new, so we know Spectre. We know
exactly.
So,
they make him a Spectre, they make Shepard a Spectre, not out of, hey, you are a fantastic soldier, which Shepard is, by the way. He's top of the line, but they make it more so out of a, hey, we're going to give humanity a pass. We're going to throw you a bone.
Prove what you're saying, and then we look good for trying to help you out, but if you fall on your face, we've covered our ass.
It's all politics. It's all politics.
It's all
and no one likes politics. No one likes that. That's why you hate them.
And that first chunk of the game, you're just walking around, like talking to people. You've got two party members, I think Caden and Ashley there, and then your first party member you meet is Tally. I think she's the next additional party member.
I think it is Garrus.
Oh, I'm sorry. It is Garrus. Yeah.
Yes. My personal favorite character throughout the whole series.
I'm not a huge Garrus fan. I know, I get why people like him. He's not in my party a lot.
That's fair. There's a lot of characters in this game, but Garrus is always in the forefront. Garrus is coming to Shepard saying like, hey, I want to take down Saren because I forget the exact reason. He knows something's up. And he's a CSEC officer, which is people that work at the gigantic Citadel.
I mean, he's also tired of the bureaucracy, so he's very like, it's very action movie cop. Just
absolutely,
just a little dialed back. He's not like he's very action.
That's such a good comparison for that character and his motives. He's the movie cop who's worked on the force for long enough. He paid his dues, and now he's like, okay, I'm sick of it. I see these things. I see these horrible things happening. I'm gonna have to take it upon myself to get the job done.
Yeah, and just the pacing, like when you first meet Garrus, like you're going somewhere else, and he just kind of walks up, like you're waiting for something, and he just walks up like, I need to talk to you. I'm like, cool. What's up, man? Do I know you? Okay, cool.
Exactly.
Do you want to help
You see, he's important though because his face is so detailed. Yeah. So that's how video games work. As soon as you see a highly detailed model, you're like, okay, wait, you're coming back. I think you're coming back a little later.
You do more digging around. You find this proof. You get we've met the Turians, who we know. Then we meet the Quarians, Tally, who's again one of the best characters in the game in my opinion.
Top best girl.
This great backstory of they built the Geth, and then the Geth became aware and took over and kicked them off their planet. That I thought was like a crazy bit of. I'm like, wait a minute. I was like, you guys got booted off your planet.
And the whole Quarian suit is. I always feel like they should never tell us what a Quarian actually looks like.
Agreed.
I think I love the mystery of it, and it's such a it also I don't know, something about the mystique, plus you see the pain that they have to go through.
Yeah,
where like they're living in these suits. They've been driven off their home world by these creatures that they created. As you said, it's such an interesting dynamic. And then as the series goes on, you learn so much more. You get into the politics of it, and it's even crazier than it seems at first glance.
Yeah, it's a lot. And all you know is, I mean, they live in this fleet. They get sent out as teenagers to either bring something back and then join a crew, but there's all the dynamics of that you get in a very short amount of time are like, all right, it's this great world building that BioWare pulls off. And then you take it around, and just as you progress, you meet you meet Rex.
I was about to say you're forgetting the big man.
Oh no, I was getting to Rex.
Yes.
Or not Rex, the Krogans, of which are this great amalgamation of like Klingons and something else, that warrior race that
they're the beast race from every single like fantasy, sci-fi, anything. Like they're this beautiful like combined stew. And I got a lot of time for Rex. I got so much time for him.
They're the beast race, but they're the after. Like you always see like this noble warrior race, but you never hear what happens later. The Krogans are the later. They came up. You hear about the Rackanai Wars.
I was about to say
there's
a statue dedicated to them in the Citadel, and you can look at it, and then you see anytime there's a Krogan throughout the entire series, it's always in this negative, shoddy, brute-like, and they're just trying to cling on to that past glory. I adore. The thing that Mass Effect does so well is making each of the races that they build up so different and unique and interesting. And whereas a player, you kind of, because some video games I'm like vibing and like I don't read all the codex entries from all these things because I don't want to, it's a lot of time and I'm enjoying myself. But Mass Effect gives you so much time to appreciate everything. And maybe you're on the ship and you're in between missions and you're like, okay, maybe I should pop up the codex and read a little bit. It gives the player the ability to want to look at things and discover the world.
It is. I mean, you then leave, you find out, yeah, you're a Spectre. You've also get the Normandy, kick-ass ship. You got to go out and figure this thing out what's there. And you've proven, if you find proof as the game goes on.
Oh, we're forgetting Joker. Forgetting Joker.
I'm sorry. Damn it. I'm sorry.
Oh.
Well, when you get the Normandy, you meet Joker. So
yes.
I was in the neighborhood. You meet
one of the first of many fantastic celebrity performances in the Mass Effect series.
Flight Lieutenant Jeff Moreau, also call sign Joker, the best pilot in the Alliance fleet as far as anyone's concerned. He's your guy. He's getting you from place to place. Seth Green does a great job. He's Vrolik syndrome. He's very fragile.
He's got those little broken, little geriatric legs. He's messed
well, I think
up.
It's his whole. I think it's like his whole body.
Yeah, it's his whole body. If he touches anything, he'll like break in half.
Yeah, but he's all of his. I mean, I had no problem standing there talking to him for like 5-10 minutes about like, oh, your background. Oh, what are you doing in the Normandy? Oh, this is how good are you? I'm very good.
Learning about his family, learning about like his life and his decisions and why he jokes.
Yeah, because he can break a rib laughing hard.
I love that. I love Joker.
Yeah, I mean the whole of the Normandy. Like your XO, your engineer, your procurement guy. They're all supremely voice acted by various folks. My issue, I guess, and they fix it between the first and second one, is like that weird elevator. Lots of elevators in Mass Effect.
Lot of standing around and waiting for obvious load times. And I appreciate that they added in the first one the dialogue between the characters and everything. But even after that, it feels like I'm waiting another 30 seconds in the elevator. It's like, okay, let's get the going. Let's get the going.
Not a playable character in the first one, but part of the council. We've got the Asari and the top of Turians. We've got the Asari and the Solarians. Solarians are awesome.
Solarians are great.
Solarians are great. Asari are kind of the jerks of the galaxy, the intellectual jerks.
Yes.
But the Solarians are don't with the Solarians.
Dude, Solarians are badass. Solarians are sick. You don't know it in the first one how cool Solarians are until you meet the Solarian. The Solarian. I don't want to say his name just yet because we're not on that just yet. I'm trying to build up a suspense.
Yeah, we get out into the galaxy. You've been made a Spectre. You've been given all these privileges. You've been given the Normandy because now Admiral Anderson is been promoted. The ship's yours. You head out into the galaxy to try and figure out what Saren's up to. I believe the first place you head to is I
You
forget.
have 3 different choices in the beginning.
Yeah.
And one of the main places, the place I usually go to first is the dig site.
Yes, to track down Dr. Liara Tassoni, who will be a
Yeah.
vital part of the series going forward. She's
Another fantastic companion.
great, yeah, great companion, good on the biotics. I love the whole biotics thing of the series, how they built that into all these abilities that you have. You can be a biotic, or I have teammates that are biotics, and I just have them just wipe stuff out.
Oh my gosh, if you play on Insanity, that's how you have to beat the game, especially
Really?
the first one.
Really?
Have you ever played on Insanity?
I've started a playthrough on Insanity, and I think I died a bunch just in the first.
Oh, it's hell. It's
Really?
you have to be a biotic and then have more biotic people because when you max out your I think it's lift and throw. When you max out lift, they can just float to the ceiling forever. It's insane. Oh yeah, it's super good.
Nice. So you go pull out Liara, you fight, you blow up the Geth are there, Krogan mercenaries are there, just everything's coming at you. She's found a relic, she's got herself in this weird situation. You blow out a wall.
I don't know if you ever did this, but on that, I forget what the planet's called, but on the dig site, in that it's one of the areas, it's right after you clear the main dig site as you're going to get Liara out. And you're in this area and you stumble upon this little probe that you have to get out, and you can quick load and quick save infinitely to get to max level.
Really?
Yes. It was a glitch that was never patched. It's some tech. I hope they don't patch it in the remake so I can just cheese my way through it. But
the planet is Therum.
Okay, yes.
Planet Therum. So you grab her, you take off, you find out Matriarch Bernezia, who's an older, and Asari have this weird like life cycle because they live for about like over 1,000 years.
Mm-hmm.
So Liara is fairly young. I think she's only
Liara is about 150, I believe.
Which is like early 20s.
Yes, which is around the time that Asaris, as they're young, start going out and doing stuff. And when Asari are very young, they're very observant and they want to explore. They want to do a bunch of stuff. That's why you see a lot of Asaris as mercenaries and as strippers. Sadly,
they do that for a couple hundred years, and
exactly
they go back to Thessia. You find out she's the daughter of Matriarch Bernezia, who's hanging out with Saren.
Not only that, you find out that she's a purebred Asari,
which is looked down upon in their society, which I thought was interesting.
Yes, it's funny because you can see the difference between the model of Liara and other characters that are purebred Asari throughout the series, which I always found cool.
Yeah, she seems to be a little I guess smoother.
Yes,
the other Asari are a little
I was looking at the eyes, she has these bright blue eyes as opposed to all the other Asaris who have very dark colored eyes.
Yeah, and the skin tones that really bluish, and then it's a little different because they come in various hues of purples and blues, just depending.
Yes, I'm a fan of the purple ones. I like the purple Asaris.
It's a good look either way.
Like her Liara's dad. I love Liara's dad.
Oh, okay, yeah. And then I think you've got two other trades. You've got Novaria, which I always go to last. And
yes,
you've got the planet with the colony and the Thorian, which was a whole weird thing in itself.
I love that mission.
Yeah, no, it's great. It's just
that mission's peak sci-fi to me. The Thorian it's long.
It involves you find out right when you get there, Like you start talking to people and like something's weird. Like you're like,
Oh
okay,
yeah.
there's weird happening here. Just
Oh
weird
yeah.
weird stuff. Like these things are leaping out, and then you find this one weird guy down in the tunnels.
There's like revolts, and then they start talking. They start talking funny, and
Yeah.
then
You figure out there's something under this ship. Or you go out to this lab, you find a group of humans out near that were part of a company. I forget the company.
yes, they were a part. They were in charge of the colony,
Yes.
the company itself.
And then the
And they, I
colony.
believe, they discovered the thorian, and it was too late before they were able to actually stop the thorian from actually fucking up everything that they were trying to do.
Yeah. So you go digging around out in this other area. The Geth are there too. The Geth have just spread out among the galaxy, finding proof, trying to find out, pin it on Saren. Let's see what, not pin it, but you need proof to bring to the council. Hey, this is what he's doing.
Yes.
You find these other humans. They talk. You find out about the Thorian, and it was weird, like because you didn't know what it is. You just know it's something that is controlling these people.
It's never directly said that it's the thorian until I believe you talk to one of the. It's like a teenager. It's like a teenage girl that you talk to, and she mentioned something about the thorian because it had her under a spell, for all intents and purposes.
And you figure out you got to get back to the colony. It's under the colony. You get gas grenades. I've managed to go through and not kill anybody. You start.
Oh my gosh, I've reset so many times after killing people, just completely by accident.
Oh geez.
Oh, it's so frustrating. And if I've had my companions kill people, I'm like, what are you doing? Just
Calm
mowing
down.
down civilians?
Like Rex, what are you doing? Calm down.
Yeah.
Wasn't me. Was the Krogan.
It was the Krogan. Perfect blame.
That's so mean now. Oh, I just feel so dirty. It's like, no, but I can blame Garrus sometimes too.
Ah, yeah.
You find out it's this giant, what is it, like a plant? Alien?
It's a plant.
Giant plant.
It's like a giant. It's like all this tentacle. It's very Lovecraftian.
It is
very Lovecraftian. And then the Asari comes out of it, and then you have that little boss fight with it. Yeah. Super fun.
Yeah, different versions. It gets spitting out versions of her.
Mm-hmm.
And then you finally get them all. And you take out the Thorian, and then the original comes out.
And then I was about to say that, of course, you beat it through just talking to it.
Yeah, you talk to her. You find out she was working for Saren. Saren was trying to control the Thorian too. You're kind of just chasing Saren. You're just missing them by that.
You're one step behind. That's the pacing wise. That's what I like about the beginning of Mass Effect. You're always one step behind the main bad guy. It's like, oh, you just missed him. Like he was here. He's gone now.
So you grab your stuff, you save the colony. Hopefully, nobody shoots anybody. That's why I leave Caden on board, because I don't trust him to not biotic anybody.
That's a problematic statement right there. Okay, they can't help themselves.
Now I feel bad about like profiling.
Biotics live a very stressful life.
It is. It's that whole thing too is, and it gets more into that, and later on in the series you find out.
Oh yeah, but even just talking to Caden, who seems like a very just chill vibe guy, he's like this. He's got some dark to him. He is damaged.
It's like he's the sensitive one, but he's got stuff going on. You talk to Ashley, who's just a blunt instrument.
Ashley's a racist.
Space racist.
Undoubtedly, to me, Ashley is hot take. Ashley's the worst character in the whole series.
Really? Okay.
I think there's two characters that fight for each other, and I just hate the mindset, and I don't think Ashley's mindset really changes as the series progresses, personally.
Okay.
I always hated her stance against like aliens when you can have a conversation with her. That always rubbed me the wrong way. She's good, don't get me wrong. She's very capable, and I have brought her several times because her damage output's always good.
It is,
but If I'm choosing between her and Caden, I'm usually going Caden.
Oh, sorry, space racist.
That's some hot takes. Hot takes.
And most people tend to favor Ashley. I think it's because of they'll take her as the tank, and Caden's,
I prefer Caden because not through like from a tank perspective, but like from actual gameplay, because I always have Rex in my party,
okay.
but through the perspective of character, because I've played through the games all the way through with each character staying, and I prefer Caden in the end way more than Ashley, because Caden, there's like some genuine growth and some interesting character aspects that happen, and especially in the third game.
Yeah. It's been a while since I've played through with Caden, so I may start when the remaster hits. I will have to start a playthrough with that'll be out, I think, later this month. Or is it?
Oh yeah. No, it's coming out in a little bit. I think it's a couple months away, I believe.
Okay, so or maybe May. I'll have to look it up.
I think it's May. I got a pre-order, so I'm.
After that, we head to Noveria, which is like dirty corporate secret land.
Oh, and that's the Rat Queen.
The Rachni. You hear about the Rachni, more world building. You find out more about the Krogans, and
the fight with Benezia
is the worst. That's a tough boss. That's a tough.
I remember it always happened as I was playing through the game. For some odd reason, Benezia always starts with her boss fight. She starts with a stun attack, the paralysis attack that she does, and which it's like it's really good from a gameplay perspective, because it's like, okay, this is what this boss is going to do to you.
Yeah.
So watch out for it, which I always kind of liked. But the issue is, and it's happened to me like several times. I have video footage of it somewhere. When she would do it, for some odd reason, Shepard would rubber band and like collide into the
that's happened.
And then get thrown into the opposite side of the room where he can't move anymore, and he's just stuck.
I've gotten the like up against the barrel thing.
Yes, the barrel. Oh my, that's the one that always happens to me, dude. It's so rough.
There's some issues, so you gotta recover, fight off her and her commandos. I usually try and focus on them, and will whack her when I can.
Do you bring Liara every time you do that fight?
Almost every time.
Same.
Because I mean, you get the extra dialogue option.
Thematically, it makes sense.
Thematically makes sense. You would have her with you, and I usually have Rex on the other side. So
of course, because the whole debacle between letting the go, and then he's like, that's the fucking thing that my people were fighting for years. Let's just kill it.
We were uplifted, and we were uplifted. We were then forcibly sterilized. That whole.
I was about to say, we'll get to that in a second.
We'll get to the genophage in a bit.
My god.
We'll get to the genophage shortly after. We'll get to Noveria, then I want to talk about some of the side stuff. But that boss fight is, and then you find out you get a lot of exposition. You get matriarch Benezia, matriarchal exposition, to where she talks about this whole thing with Saren and the Reapers and genetically bringing back the Rachni, but how she is proud of Liara for the person Liara has become. So you're like,
because she snaps out of the mind control that Sovereign has in her, and she's like, "Oh, kill me! Kill me! I love you. You've done a great job." Bang. I think if you don't shoot her, she shoots herself from memory.
Something like it. She shoots herself, or she does something to herself, and
yes.
She takes herself out.
I always let the Rachni go. I always do.
I do because it was genetically engineered. It was a lab.
It makes no sense.
Yeah. It's a lab rat.
Even when I'm playing through a Renegade playthrough, I don't think it makes sense to kill it personally.
No, I don't, because again, it's a lab rat. Granted, a big giant lab rat.
Disgusting, potentially dangerous lab rat, but nonetheless.
It's the principle of the thing, darn it. All right, before I move into the rest of the game, there's a lot of just great side stuff. We get an introduction to Cerberus. There's an admiral trying to track down I guess these different experiments that have been happening.
Yes.
So you start hitting these different planets. We won't talk too much about the Mako. I just kind of deal with it.
I'm iffy about the Mako. I don't think the Mako is too awful.
It's once you learn how
How
to
to position it and move it.
once you know how to position it and move it in the right spots, in the right
Yeah.
places, it's doable.
Yes.
I mean, you meet different like alliance folks fighting off Rakna. You run into like a smuggling operation on a random planet that you can talk your way out of if your talk's high enough, which I have
Mm-hmm.
like tend to do, and then you get a bunch of loot out of that.
Yep.
The loot system in one is a little cumbersome.
I think a lot of the systems in one are very flawed. Bless its heart. When it comes to an actual like gameplay and structure standpoint, like I think it is not as refined as it could have been. Like compared to like the world building and the story, the gameplay it's very hard to recommend one where you people play it and it's like, oh my gosh, this feels so floaty, so like
the only inventory system I felt that was worse was like the first Morrowind game that came out for like
oh my gosh, yeah.
like why do I have like 12 bowls here? What's going on?
Yes, exactly. There needs to and it just gets so cluttered and there's no like quick and easy scrap it for credits.
No.
That's the big thing. You have to go painstakingly just da
Omnigel, put Omnigel on everything.
Exactly.
Omnigel. Yeah, all these great random side stuff. Smugglers. Everyone's got little. I don't know if they're loyalty missions, but Garrus has the one with like the doctor he's been chasing down.
Garrus has one. Tally, I don't think Tally has one, but Rex has one for his family armor.
Yes, the family armor, which is just
Does
kind
Tally
of
have one?
I don't think in the first one. I think you just talk to her a fair amount, and
because she's going through the whole yes, and she's trying to find her place on the Normandy itself.
I think you just talk to her and the engineer, and you kind of convince the engineer, hey, just give her a chance, let her help out.
Yeah, I think that is the side quest.
Yeah,
just convincing the engineer to actually work with the Quarian.
It's like, oh, she had pre-star output. I'm like, yeah, good. There you go.
No shit. She's a Quarian. She like this is what they do. You should work with them.
Like she's good, man. You just gave her a corner of engineering. She's happy.
Exactly.
Happy
she's
person.
Vibing over there in her little spot that she just stays in for every single bit.
Yeah, and and the whole Cerberus, this admiral asks you for help. You start busting up these installations.
You don't know, like the funny thing about one is you don't understand the full insanity of Cerberus.
Yeah. It's just kind of thrown at you and like, okay, I'll help you out. Cool.
Yeah.
And as you go through, it's like it's more sinister, and you keep finding these bodies and all these experiments, and it's just like, what the?
It's like, what is this? These guys are bad news. These guys are not good. They are like all Cerberus is the worst part of the Alliance and humanity itself making its way out into the galaxy.
Yeah. You get some of that in the Citadel with like the Terra Firma party or Terra Nova party.
Yeah, Terra Firma. Oh my gosh.
There's like a political
shit
debate where, they want like it's humans first and humanity should be leading the way in the galaxy. And I don't understand that because like we're new here. We're new.
But it's always I love that so much because it is a very fun interaction, but it's also a very, I don't want to call it lazy, but it's always goofy. Like it's very hammered in politic.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like we are obviously talking about modern day issues. And I'm not against that at all.
It's very obvious imperialism. It's framed in a very tongue-in-cheek way.
It is not played for serious. The serious part of imperialism would be Cerberus itself. Yeah. The Terra Nova party is just like, oh, let's laugh at this little fucking group that are being dickheads.
But then you're finding random bodies in all these different places you're going to, and then you find the admiral who asked you for help dead, and you're like, and the thing is that when that happens, that's the end of that loop. You all you know is Cerberus.
You don't know anything else.
Yeah, that's like, wait, what?
Awesome.
That like when they
I don't even think Cerberus is mentioned again in the first game,
No,
is it?
no, that's it. Once you're done with that mission, that's it. Like when it ended, I was like, wait, did I miss something? Did I?
So good. My first playthrough, because I had no idea what the events of the whole entire trilogy was like when
Okay.
I first played through it. I'm pretty decent at keeping myself from getting spoiled. So when I got past it, and then you get to the second game, and then you get to the third game, and it's like, oh my gosh, I should have been way more like worried about that little side mission, because you just think it's like, oh, it's just like some horrible dickhead terrorists, you know.
They're deep. They're deep in
There's
there.
much more.
Much deeper. Even cool stuff in the Citadel, like random little fetch quests, like help the
I
doctor.
love going through the Citadel and collecting the collectors,
Oh, finding
like
those little
scanning
guys.
every single of them. And there's the one where you have it's like the sentient AI, and it's gonna bomb the.
Yeah, you gotta. Then there's like the whole shadow broker thing, which comes up in the first one, which is again, it's one of those stories where you go through it and you find out there's this information broker who knows everything, has dirt on everyone, but no one's ever seen him or her. It's a little, you meet the Volus as part of
I
this.
was about to say you meet the Volus, who I love the Volus. That's my whole gimmick is the Volus.
The
I'm just a
Volus.
Volus.
Just out here trying to cut deals, just trying to cut deals and making the galaxy.
Dude, I love when you first meet Voluses, and what's the other one? The four-legged
Oh, the
ones,
Elcor?
and the Elcor. Two awesome
Great.
like races that I wish I hope in the new game coming up that we get like a companion of them. I don't know how you would do it, but just something stupid like that. But you get an immediate like, here's an introduction for these two batshit like races.
And the weird Volus have this weird like hegemony that's like different tribes like absorb each other or trade to like another for like a political alliance. There's just a lot of
It's like a mixture of like capitalism and tribalism. You
yeah.
know, it's very interesting. And the
It's like
Elcor are just vibing.
yeah. Hello.
And the Hanar, we didn't even talk about the Hanar. Those weirdos.
They're kind of like the you want to talk to somebody vibing, they're just kind of floating in their little
Yes.
just like, hello, this one is here to help you. Cool.
There's the one I believe it's the one planet with all the with Matriarch is on. You see the Hanar, and he's trying to
get you to smuggle.
He's trying to get
smuggle. Like, wait a minute. It's like I'm doing this conversation. I'm like, wait a minute. You want me to smuggle some shit for you?
Exactly. And it's like this really hyper intelligent alien is the best part about it.
Yeah, I love how even in the far reaches of the galaxy, when we've mastered space travel and we're doing all these things, we're still smuggling shit. We're still side hustling.
And even the incredibly intelligent races are looked at in like this human light where they can also be corruptible and like dickheads, and even action stars like Blasto.
This one is tired of your excrement.
I love Blasto. I want a Blasto game. I think that's what they should do. They need to do something with Blasto.
Maybe do like a modified like not 8-bit, but like maybe like a 16-bit kind of like a
like a side, like a Contra, like just do Contra. Except
just
like,
Blasto.
He moves at like 5 speed, like 5 times the speed,
like a Metal Slug type Contra type deal with Blasto.
Perfect. I'd love that.
I'd spend some money for that.
Someone make it, please. Begging you.
Someone make Blasto. I'll tag BioWare and Mass Effect guys. Can we get a Blasto game? Come on.
They should. I'll tag them. They'll respond to Big Dust. I'll tell you.
Oh, they should. It's important. So we're through Novaria. We've all the side stuff, and because I really want to, I'm not rushing through this, but I want to talk about 2, and I know you have hot takes on 3.
Yes.
We get through Novaria, but you start finding out more and more that the Protheans were wiped out. You don't know by what. You just know they were wiped out, and the Mass Effect relays are throughout the galaxy, and that's how you travel. Leave Novaria, then you end up, I'm trying to remember the next part of this. You go back to the Citadel. You go to Vermeer.
You go to Vermeer first, and
Go to
then
Vermeer. And Vermeer's got a bunch of stuff happening there. You fight your way through. You meet Captain Karahi and the Solarian, the
yes,
STG, the Solarian, the Special Task Group, which are
that whole entire bit is introduced, and I love it so much.
the Solarians are like the badass ninja assassins of the galaxy.
They're like super smart, analytical. Only live to like 50, I
yeah,
believe.
they have a short lifespan. I think it's like 50 or 70 years, something like that. It's not very long. You find out about this is where like the genophage,
That's where that starts getting brought up.
where Saren has basically figured out a cure for the genophage, was forcibly sterilized the Krogan, and Rex feels some kind of way about it. So there's a whole thing here.
And then you're met with the option to I believe it's that area, right? You're met with the
It's when you get through all of that, when you get through that kind of that first combat part,
that big ass Mako mission that you have to do too long. But then you're met with the decision whether or not to kill Rex, which is if you do kill Rex, why do you kill him? Who would kill Rex?
Who does it? You're playing the game wrong. I don't want to hear about this choice BS. You kill Rex, you're playing the game wrong.
You're playing the game wrong. You just are. There's no way you should.
Yeah,
he's too good of a boy. He's best boy.
He is. You talk it out. You use your words like grown folks.
Yes.
You explain that.
You don't just shoot. He's a grown ass man. You treat him as such.
Exactly. The Geth you just shoot because they're
because they're mindless zombie people. Well,
okay. We'll get to it.
Yeah, we'll get to it.
As far as we know now, they're toasters, and we treat them as such. So Rex, you got to talk Rex down. You figure out Saren is holed up in this facility where he's curing the genophage. The STG is going to go in one way. You've got your team. You've got some optional things you can do. You can bust up communications. You find Solarian prisoners. You find out that this sovereign is what's called a Reaper. There's this thing called indoctrination. You get all of that in this level. It's a lot.
It's such a good goddamn level. The storming into the base to talking to Sovereign, and you're like, the realization of, holy shit, that's not a ship, that's a creature. Like that. Yeah, that is a living being, and you're explaining the whole entire process of like everything about the entirety of the series is just laid out to you. The Reapers are coming. Sovereign is going to bring them here because we have made too far advances in technology in the universe, and the Reapers, I believe it's once every 5,000 years?
Every 50,000. They come out and wipe the site clean. They take out every advanced civilization. They I think it's implied that anyone who has any races who haven't achieved space travel, they leave alone. Yep. But anyone who's advanced gets wiped out. They clean out the galaxy every 50,000 years.
Which is what happens to the Protheans, and that's the vision that Shepard sees from each of the pillars that you touch.
And the Protheans weren't even the first or the second. It's been happening forever.
Which you find out in the third game, which is insane to me.
It's like, what?
Like that it goes even beyond that.
So not only are you finding out that Saren is not just this bad guy who's corrupted the Geth, they're using mind control, indoctrination, and this race of machine beings, which are out in dark space, are coming to kick the galaxy in the nuts. So you decide, hey, you know what? We're just going to go ahead and blow this place up.
Smart. It's a smart play. Honest to God.
Big ass bomb.
At that point, let's just blow it up. It's got too much information within it that is only going to be used for like evil goals. Let's just blow it up.
Yeah, take it out. Oh, sorry. You drop the bomb. You start progressing. Then we hear big choice of the game right here. You have Ashley in one place, Kate in another. You can only get one. Can only get one.
Very emotional. It's a very well done scene
It is.
when it comes cinematically. It's very touching, especially for people going through the first time. It is very because you're built up. Well, if you're playing the game correctly, you've been talking to your shipmates every single opportunity to get bits of their dialogue. Even though I think Ashley is the worst party member, I don't think she has a horrible story.
No, I mean she's military family.
Exactly.
I think she's as much. She's a human, she likes her poetry and her books, but she also has some space xenophobia issues that she needs.
Exactly. And Caden's a bit boring, but
He's kind of Caden's kind of like just a not a wet blanket, but he's just kind of.
why you call my man a wet blanket? God dang.
Maybe kind of like a just a blanket. He's there.
Yes, he is. He's set dressing.
He's,
They said we need a handsome looking fella in this game. Let's grab Caden.
Yeah, so you have to make your choice. I've kind of done both and seen where both went. It sucks either way because you lose the other one.
Yes,
and it sucks for Shepard. I've played through most times as a female Shepard, but as a male Shepard because the voice acting on both's great. I kind of prefer the female version. Jennifer Hale does a great job.
Oh God, yeah, they're both both of the voice actors do such an iconic job delivering every single line.
You get your first encounter with Saren, who is just a dick. Turian's
just a piece of work that guy is.
He's the classic, because when you get talked to by Sovereign, he's essentially just calling you a dumb human. Like you're just getting talked down to the whole time. But
Saren's trying to talk to you.
Yeah.
That is the interesting part about Saren. I think, and I don't think this is a negative point. I think people think of this as a very just pure negative point when it comes to storytelling. But he's not the strongest villain when it comes to interacting with the player. To me,
yeah.
I think his lines and the delivery of the lines are obviously very, very interesting and very like him trying to appeal to Shepard's like being a renegade, being against authority, because no matter which way you're playing, you're going against what the council wants.
Yeah. You fight him off. Bomb goes off. You got to hustle your ass out of there. Saren kind of is like, I'll see you. And then you start piecing things together. You go to this lost planet, which is near some random relay that people thought was something. I know something blew up and it knocked the relay off.
Mm-hmm.
And then you end up on Ios and you get the rest of the story that the relays are used by the Reapers and
not only that, but the Citadel is the relay.
The hub, is the bigger relay.
I believe, I don't know if it's told about in the first one, but I actually found this out recently, so I just wanted to say it. I thought it was really cool. Apparently the mass relays are Reapers.
Okay.
Apparently they are old Reaper corpses that Reapers used,
and they've been like just repurposed as these. Mm-hmm. Okay, that's
apparently it's been said in I think it was said in one of the books. Okay. And I was like, oh, that's really interesting.
So now you got to try and get back to the Citadel between all the Geth. You realize he's just using the Geth basically, which the Geth have been indoctrinated. So you hustle your ass back through Ios in another very long make a level, just driving through.
I don't mind that one because there's a very good bit of tension in that bit because you're weaving through corners, you're trying to get to everywhere.
You're on a clock once you see that he's already gone through, so you got 30 seconds to kind of weave through, get through these tanks.
I don't even shoot people at that point. I just go.
I just zip through. It's like, yep, gotta go. You get blasted back to the Citadel. You fuck up the Mako. Yeah, you can't park there. And then in one of the coolest levels, you get to fight your way up the Citadel.
Which you've already been there like probably like 5 times, maybe
Yeah,
even
at least.
more if you're doing like a completion ship, like a full 100% playthrough. And it's just it's so interesting to see the Citadel look like shit.
You just get blown out. Just there's
Oh yeah,
crap everywhere. Shit's blowing up. The Alliance fleets, they're fair. You have a choice as you're progressing to you can either save the council or let the council fucking die.
which one do you do?
I've done both. I don't have
Mm.
I lean towards saving the council, if only to keep Udina off the fucking council.
Yeah, he's scum.
Such
I
a
actually, well, I always give him the job. Funny.
of ambassador.
Yes.
Okay, there a particular reason? Just because it's probably
I
something.
don't. I always feel like Anderson. Like I don't think that's his purpose to be an ambassador. I always feel like that. I always feel like he wouldn't enjoy doing
All
like
that
desk
diplomatic.
work. Exactly. He's not. He's not that type of person. I've read the books that are based on Anderson's past. I'm a
Okay.
huge fan of his character, and just reading that, it's like I don't think he would like that at all. Just sitting there pushing pen and paper and having to deal with politics.
Go to these weird dinners where nobody likes each other.
Exactly.
So you fight up the Citadel, you're fighting outside, there's a space battle happening, you got sovereigns at the other end, fight your way up to the council chamber, final showdown with Saren. If your chat's high enough, you don't have to fight him as Saren. He'll blow his own, he's been upgraded by Sovereign.
Fully indoctrinated.
Fully indoctrinated. He is basically just, he's Sovereign with a body.
Mm-hmm.
He then blows his face off. He turns into one of those leapy guest deals, and he's got that
crazy fight. That fight is insane.
He's got that like that red eye, that blast attack, which will
dude, it just comes out like instantly. Oh my gosh, that's a fun fight. I love that fight. On Insanity, that thing's damn near impossible.
If you hit him with, I think it's if you have Liara, she's got that I don't know if it's phase lock or whatever that is. Like that holds them.
Stasis,
because she hits them with stasis, and you can just unload and just.
I have to remember that when I play through it again.
Yeah,
I've never used that.
Yeah,
I think it's because I always bring Garrus and Rex.
Okay, you just got your gun-o-rama.
Oh, dude, just shotguns and sniper rifles. Just go full in. I'm tired of playing around.
Yeah, and you take out Saren. You save the day. Obviously, you've wrecked the Citadel at least once so far. You have it. Humanity has earned its place. Kind of. They don't entirely hate us, so we're kind of cool. I guess you're a hero. Have some drinks.
Vibe. You get the badass shot of you walking away from the wreckage. Beautiful cinematic finale of that. It's like the perfect like big space epic finale is the first game.
I think I also leave the council alive because they have to thank you and they don't want to.
I always hang up. Hang up on them throughout the whole game. Yeah, you're not just calling us just to hang up on us again. And Shepard's just like, yep.
Boop. Sorry, gotta go do galaxy shit.
Love it.
And then to 2010, I believe the sequel gets announced. Everyone's all super excited because Mass Effect's this huge hit, probably bigger than I think BioWare expected it to be. Exceeds expectations. A sequel's announced. There's all this cryptic stuff. We get into Mass Effect 2, which is, in my opinion, the greatest game of the last console generation, if not top 3.
Undoubtedly, it's phenomenal. It's insane how like the one had a lot of jank to it. Let's be honest. When it comes to the actual gameplay department, 2 there is such the whole entire combat overhaul.
Yeah,
and how everything works now. It just feels so much better to play. I love it so goddamn much.
If the first game was a 99 Civic, the second game is like a 2010 like nice new Corolla with the new.
Hell yeah, absolutely.
It's so smooth. It's so
It's
well.
the hot shit. It's the hot shit.
It is. It's the Mass Effect 1, love it. Kind of busted. Mass Effect 2, new hotness.
Yes.
And then you die. You're you're just hanging out in the galaxy, chilling. You know, I think you just picked up maybe some smoothies, maybe a J or two.
Chilling. You have an interaction with either I think it's either Liara or Ashley. I think
it's Liara.
Liara. Okay.
You know, yeah, we kind of leave out the romance part because we get to that. You can do some romancing, which is fine. I romance Liara because
we're building right now. We'll talk about the. I have a hot take when it comes to romances in this game.
We can
very hot.
2 is yeah, you show up. This ship shows up out of nowhere. Don't know what it is. Just start shooting, like just hostile out of no. Like I didn't shoot at you. Why are you shooting at me? Then nobody gets blown to shit. You get everybody out.
Everybody's going. You have to force Liara to leave the Normandy in this really heartbreaking scene, but you can't go yet because goddamn Joker's still in the pilot seat trying to save it.
You got to drag him out because the hole's been blown in the hull. This thing is busted. It's time to go.
It's a very good opening compared to the first one because it's that immediate action, that immediate like, okay, there is an issue. You know what to expect from Mass Effect, but we're gonna flip it.
Like how dare you wreck my ship? Like I was pissed.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, fuckers put a hole in my ship.
It's the Normandy. We spent the whole entire last game building up the Normandy and building the Normandy as a crew, and then 2 begins with the death of it.
Just you broke my ride. You broke my ride, and
it's depressing.
So you die. You get blown out into space. You save everybody, but you die. And you know, you get a nice recap of what happened and what ended. And here we are 2 years later. You're waking up and shit's going down. We got people.
You have a beautiful woman that wakes you up over the intercom.
Beautiful. Well, you don't know she's beautiful yet. You hear her voice.
You can tell.
You can tell. You hear the accent. And you're like, oh yeah.
All right. She's a smoke show. Let's do this.
Let's get up. You're like, grab your armor, start shooting shit. We got robots that have gone wonky. You're in some unidentified part of space. You don't know where you're at. You start shooting stuff. You get your little tutorial, and we meet Jacob. Jacob's biotic. He's willing to help you, but you gotta help him out first.
He's also the worst character in the worst companion of Mass Effect, in my opinion.
Is it a tie between him and last year, or you feel he is objectively worse?
I think if Jacob had lasted longer in the series, he might not have been as bad as Ashley, but I think he's the worst personally.
Okay.
Which is sad because I think he's badass, obviously.
Okay. I mean, it's an interesting tutorial level. You learn a lot as you go. You find out it's been 2 years, that it's I don't know if you know what Cerberus, or you help Jacob. He just says you're in a research facility. That's kind of all.
Yes.
You start finding these recordings about this project. You start hearing about reconstruction and reanimation and
Amanda and the elusive man.
The elusive man, and there's all this stuff, and then
Miranda.
Then you find out Miranda, and then you find out, Miranda again. Yvonne Strahovski, very amazing performance.
Oh hell yeah!
And in her cat suit, whatever that is. I don't know. Is that a uniform?
What do you think about them cutting out the ass shots?
I mean, here's the thing: you get enough of them in 2. I don't know if they're cutting out the ass shots. You're going to get at least 1.
Apparently, they're editing around. I think it was a case of false outrage I don't think anyone who's actually fans of the series are gonna be upset.
Yeah,
You know?
you know what it is? It's like you've seen the first Avengers movie where they obviously shoot Chris Evans from the back just to show you his butt a lot.
Yeah.
It was probably just a lot of that kind of weird video game.
It was a lot of in that time, and I'm not saying that weird. I'll call it like a weird misogynistic ass point, like of the character of Miranda, not inherently, but there is like a weird hint of like, okay, she is so sexualized, but they explain it in the character, which is interesting.
Yeah,
So
I think it's done in a way that's not malicious, but it is problematic.
yes, that's yes.
It's not malicious, but has some issues, which again kind of get broken down later on. So again, you find out, you go talk to the played by Martin Sheen. Must have just had a ball doing this shit.
Dude, this is an easy payday, you gotta think, right?
Yeah,
This face scan, okay, read some lines, all right. Dude is perfect.
I was like,
for the elusive man.
They just something like you're President Bartlett but evil, and he's like, got it.
Got it. I'm here for it.
And one of the most compelling characters in video games, the elusive man.
I can't with him. He from 2 and 3, he is such an interesting part of the character. Even if you don't look at him from the other bits of lore, like, and you don't look at like the actual backstory of him and Cerberus, like he himself is just so, as soon as he pops on your screen, you're just instantly hooked. You're like, I don't know what this is, but I'm here for it.
Yeah, like, all right, I'm in. I'm down. You hear Cerberus has bought you back. You're now, if you played the first one, you're like, what the fuck, Cerberus? You find out they're this like, there's different cells and parts of Cerberus, but they all have the same goal of advancing humanity. That humanity should be at the forefront of what's happening in the galaxy. So it makes Cerberus a little warm and fuzzy, but not entirely. Like, you're not totally repulsed, but you're like, he's making it seem like what they're doing is a little softer than what you dealt with in the first game, which is fine.
Yes.
Narratively speaking, it's a nice direction change.
Yes.
And in Exploration of the Galaxy, I mean, the first one you're dealing with Alliance space, and this one you're in like the Terminus system, which is the Wild fucking West. You're being told these bad guys called collectors have been taking out human colonies, and that's why Cerberus is focused on this, because it's only human colonies, it seems. You're being sent out to go deal with it, and you get they've rebuilt your ride, the new hotness.
I love the Normandy in this game.
The SR2.
Oh my god, the SR2 is beautiful ship.
Such a good looking ship. Just like lines, like if like you're a fan of sci-fi, that is the kind of ship you want.
Oh, dude,
for everything. Like I want that around for exploration, for fighting, for whatever. Just I want that. I want to be in that. You get your buddy Joker back, and it's private sector, so he's getting paid. He's happy. He's like, I got a paycheck. And within the scope of Mass Effect 2, you get, again, one of the greatest games of probably the last generation of consoles. You get introduction to, you've got Miranda, you've got the, and you get to go to cool places. You get Omega, which is an amazing.
Oh my god, yes.
And
you get the grit, you get the dirt.
It is
like that.
It's the terminus system. You get the hood of the galaxy. You get the dangerous part.
Exactly.
Omega is like the South Philly of the galaxy.
Even when you go to the Citadel in the game, which I always found interesting. In the first game, the Citadel was very brightly lit. It's very beautiful. It's very nice looking, and it kind of shows like, okay, this is where the galaxy is at in this universe. There is relative peace, and it's beautiful. In 2, it's like, okay, forget what you heard. There's still some scum. There's still some grime going on.
Yeah, there's some dirt happening here. It happens in this other random part of the Citadel. There's the council, and the council won't even like take your calls, which entirely is fine with me.
Yes.
You catch up with Anderson. Everyone's like, "Hey, you're not dead. Cool. We got problems." Udina's still being a prick. It's just there's just
Nobody trusts you because you're working with Cerberus. Is
yeah,
the big like
yeah.
underlying thing throughout the whole entire series.
You've got the great Michael Hogan voicing the CSEC officer, who's awesome. Played Saltai on BSG, another
Fantastic.
sci-fi great by him. And then you get your big. You go to Horizon. You run into Tally and the Quarians again. You fight more of these mechs that are, or you start. I think it's just the mechs now. You don't fight collectors yet. I think you're just fighting.
No, it's primarily mechs in the first like third of the game, I believe.
Oh, yeah. You find out Tali's done come up in the world. She's running her own little commando squad, not commando squad, but like salvage squad.
And she's also pissed when
Yeah,
she sees you. She's not happy.
She's kind of hot with you. Gets hot at you. It's like, oh, like what Cerberus? After the bullshit we dealt with, explain yourself, and you got to try and sort it out. You get the weird Quarian guy who I let them take him because there's no reason for any other action.
Exactly. This is too cruel. You can do some cruel shit.
Yeah, they get weird. Like when they say renegade into, they fucking mean it.
I kind of love doing, even if I'm playing like a full Paragon playthrough, I still do some of the renegade options because they're so goddamn funny.
Oh, I punch so many people in the face. Like,
dude, punching people in the face. The part where you can just shoot the dude that's like on the call and like he goes out the window and shit.
Boom.
Dude, funny as hell. Funny as hell.
You're recruiting. Tally can't go with you right then. We run into her later. So you have Miranda. And we've also got you. If Omega's the South Philly of the galaxy, and we're gonna kind of get back to that, you get to go to like the space pen, Subject Zero.
Yes.
This private prison run by the Blue Sun mercenary. Your mercenary companies run this whole side of the galaxy. This whole side of the galaxy is just a mess.
And you see that's like the common enemy is like all gangs of like the Blue Suns and shit like that.
So Blue Suns, Eclipse, and the Blood Pack.
Yeps.
And the Blue Suns seem to have the business side kind of on lock. Like they're running prisons, they're running protection. You're here to pick up this prisoner, but then
which is the one that Shepard can work with? It's one of right?
Well, it's if you have
it's one of the options where you can be a former drug smuggler as a youth. I
think it's the Blue Suns.
You think?
I think I could be entirely mistaken, but I think.
I'll do a little bit more research. My bad. I was just remembering that.
You pick up your next squad member, a hell of a powerful biotic Jack, who has a great
tragic, beautiful story Jack has. Oh my gosh.
I love blowing up that prison. You got the warden that was trying to
they're all just scumbags. They're all pieces of shit. That fight is so intense. Like that whole entire prison break scene. It's
blowing through everybody. It's like, so Cerberus has paid him for Subject Zero. So these already got the money, and they're like, you know what? It's more valuable for me to have you. So I'm gonna you over. And like, no, that's not how this goes. Go through, shoot through, get Subject. You find out Jack is a biotic above biotics. I mean, she's just Jesus Christ.
She's insanely powerful to the umpteenth degree, and then you find out that it's because Cerberus was messing with her at a very young age, which that it's like you get even more tension. It's like this weird thing where you're working with Cerberus, but Shepard is always against authority, I feel. And Cerberus is the authority. He's working with him, but Shepard does not like it at all.
Yeah, no, it's just like how scumbaggy. And then Miranda tries to tell you, oh, it wasn't a sanctioned thing.
Oh my gosh. A bootlicker.
Miranda, bootlicker. So that's Jack. Now Jacob may be a horrible character, and I kind of agree with you. He's more boring than Caden.
Yes,
His side mission, the thing about his dad,
it's
that's
good.
is
That's a beautiful mission.
that's you. He asks you basically all of this is them asking you for favors. You're doing your loyalty missions for all your different characters. We'll
And
get
if you
to
don't do your loyalty mission,
do them.
you have to do them.
Bad things
I
happen.
found that out the hard way
Oh,
with
did you? Oh, did you? I was just doing them to do them. But
I think I didn't get one of them in time. I forget which one it was.
okay.
And then they just
Yeah, essentially, Jacob's dad has been missing for 15 years, something like that. You get the he finds a signal from the old ship. They land on this planet. You find out they've been not only have they've been marooned, but the plant life on the planet that they've been eating is degrading everyone's capacity. Everyone's like this primal tribe thing. His dad has essentially been like hoarding the ship food for himself and using everyone as like slave labor or toys or there's stuff that's implied that I'm not going to get into on here, but
it's very dire shit.
it is
Is very mature story is that game. It tackles a lot of
yeah
way deeper, more at home. The thing, if I could just say this real quick, I apologize
oh no problem
if we're talking a fair bit, but I gotta say, I think 2 is like the best in the trilogy
yeah
because 1 and 3 have the highest stakes possible, which
yeah
is like, and they should, especially the third one. They
yeah
should have the stakes that they have. But the second one feels like way more of a low key threat. You
yeah
know, it is still a very big threat as seen from what the collectors are doing and what they are capable of doing.
yeah
But something about like, okay, it's not a galaxy wide issue. It is like we have to save this and stop them.
yeah
That's what I really like about the sequel.
yeah it is the stakes are high, but they're not like dire. I mean, the threat of the Reapers is still there, but we're not
Yes.
there yet.
Yes.
Kind of the in between. It's like this big epic action movie, and this movie's like the second act. We're not.
If we're talking Star Wars, we're not in the New Hope anymore. We are in Empire, and then we get to the big one.
Yeah, we're there. Now, yeah, that's a great story. You get Samara, great character.
Awesome character. Another purebred, I believe.
She is purebred.
Yes.
She is a Justicar. And I love the deference that all the other Asari are like, the Justicar's here. There's not a lot I can do, you know.
Her strict moral code that
Yes.
I adore. I think in the third one, she's like, "Oh, I'll follow you to the end, of course, and I'll assist you, but I'll have to kill you at the end of this." It's like,
If you do anything that betrays the code, I will kill you.
yeah, it's insane.
There's a character I'm going to leave for last. We get a nice sniper character in. I always call him the Drill. I always forget his name, and it's bad. It's on me.
Oh, why am I forgetting it? Oh my gosh, I was just talking about it with my boy today.
Oh man.
Oh wait. It's coming to me. Thane
Krios.
Thane Krios.
Thane Krios.
We'll cut that.
Yeah, it's fine. Thane Krios. Drell.
I love Thane Krios. I love the Drell. Drell are badasses.
Yeah, the interesting dynamic with them and the Hanar, and that the Hanar basically saved them from their like drying out homeworld and kind of adopted them. The loyalty mission with his son is solid,
Heartbreaking,
solid storytelling. Like I'm trying to make it right with my son, and
this shit got me teared up the first time I played it. I was so invested in him. He looks so cool, and then he's got like, oh my god,
family issues. He talks about like playing with his son when the son's like, then he has to like go to work. He has to like leave his son, and realized he couldn't do both.
It was relatable, and then his son turns to the fucking dark side, and he doesn't want that.
Yeah, so you try and pull him back. Once he kills, that's it. So you gotta intervene.
Beautiful scene.
Back in Omega, the Wild Wild West, we've got
Archangel.
Archangel out here causing issues. Turns out Archangel's your boy Garrus, who said, you know what, F CSEC, I'm moving to Omega to take out criminals.
He said, dude, this whole cop thing ain't working out for me. I'm gonna put the law into my own hands. Love it so goddamn much. It's such a simple and easy progression to make for the character.
He's still the action movie cop, because we all know the cop doesn't get anything done until he throws the badge down.
Exactly.
Like, I'm going to take care of this on my own.
And he's sitting there fighting off Eclipse, or I think he's pissed them all off, right?
He's pissed them all off, so they're all going to mount this big, that
big like tower defense mission.
Oh. Now there's an interesting renegade portion where you go to like sign up with the mercenaries, and this kid walks in. And you can either just let him go or take the gun. I've done both, but a lot of times I'll hit the button and take the gun from him.
Mm-hmm.
And kind of, I think you can smack him or something, or yell at him.
You can like smack him, break the gun, or yell at him.
Okay, I typically yell at him or smack him because no, you're 12. Go home.
Don't be done. Yeah, you're a child.
You meet all the different mercenary groups in this one too. You've got the Blood Pack, which are the Krogans, and the Vorcha, another solid, interesting,
super fun introduction. Yeah, they're little scamps. I love them. They remind me of the goblins from Oblivion.
Yeah. Then you've got Eclipse, which is largely that's the nerd mercenary group that's run by the Solarians, the Asar. Oh, go ahead. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Sorry about that.
That's like that's like the nerd mercenary group. That's all the techs and the engineers trying to make some money. Oh, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay,
you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Valid.
Gotcha.
I'm a big fan of that mission. That whole just building up the tension, and then it's that final little last bit where you meet Garrus and you have to fight them off, and they're all storming this little compound that Garrus is freaking set up in. Oh, it's intense. And then Garrus gets shot, and you're like, no, but he's okay, and he's just got this badass scar on him for the rest of the series. Oh.
Action movie cop. That's what he is. He's just that in the galaxy.
Hell yeah.
But Omega's got other issues. Well, you go meet Arya, one of my favorite side characters. Arya, voiced by Carrie-Anne Moss. Arya just runs shit. That's her job.
Badass bitch.
Run shit.
Doesn't give a fuck.
Dude. Any fuck she had were gone a long time ago.
Exactly.
And we also meet probably the best character in the series. The most badass Solarian doctor ever. Dr. Morden Solus.
Oh. He does a Star Trek reference. Are you joking?
He does a Gilbert and Sullivan reference, man.
Yes. It's awesome.
He's just in here, you know, he's
I love him.
He's a Renaissance Solarian.
He's fantastic. His loyalty mission is also brilliant.
Yeah, because you find out more about. I wanted, when the second one was going to come out, I was like, all right, I want to go the places that I wanted to go.
Mm-hmm.
In the second one, I got a chance to go to. You go back to. I wanted to go to Tucson. I wanted to go to the Krogan homeworld.
Yes.
I wanted, like, when they announced it was going to be a series, I was like, oh, give me the Krogan homeworld, give me the Quarren homeworld if you can, and then give me. There was one other one, and I'll think of it as we talk about 3. 3 will be more opinion based. 2 is the meat of the sandwich, and 3 is going to be like hot take time.
Yes.
Morden, you do a great clean up this plague in Omega. You make Omega a slightly better place. It's still scummy. It's still South Philly, but it's less scummy.
Yeah.
You've got Samar's loyalty mission that happens there. Her daughter is killing people. Morinth.
Morinth. I was about to say, I thought it was Monith, but it's Morinth.
Morinth. You
know, that mission where you investigate the disappearance of the girl, that's heartbreaking.
Yeah, it's just this side of the galaxy is scummy. It's just scummy and dirty.
It's such an interesting change from the first one, whereas it's like the space epic, and then the sequel is like this. the first one's more like A New Hope, and the second one is more like Firefly.
Yeah. It has very like Empire, Rogue One, Firefly. Yeah, you can fly in space and mankind can reach the stars, but there's dirty shit just happening everywhere.
Exactly, I love it.
You've got that side mission, then you've got this whole group, and I don't think we're missing. You get Tally back. You go out to this weird sun place. You save Tally. The
I
Quarian
was gonna say,
Commandos,
there are the DLC characters, Zaid and
right?
Kasumi,
Yep.
two very fun
Yeah, because
side
Kasumi's
characters.
got that flash bomb is actually really cool. Her mission's great. You get to wear like a cool outfit, and this rich 1%er galaxy guy has like that.
That's the one where you have to. It's basically the break, like a heist movie,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. It's nice. You got to like record this and get that. Get into the vault. You get all your stuff. He's got the head of the Statue of Liberty. He's
And
got
Zaid's the badass, fucking
uh,
too old for like old enough for this shit. Just gonna fucking do another job. Give me my buddy so I can leave.
yeah, former co-founder of the Blue Suns. You get to rectify that. Um, I would take care of that because that's a fun, just kind of straight shoot ahead mission, but it's fun because he gets some closure and you get to like kill mercenaries.
Oh yeah,
You've got the collectors. You've got they're just snatching up humans.
very very. I love the design of the collectors
Oh yeah, it's
so
just
much.
creepy.
The bug type and like the wasp shit. It's perfect.
The that I think it's called the Scion, the one with like all the heads in it. Like all this stuff is so creepy because it's all like this weird body modification, very like Hellraiser, Lovecraftian, just like that space gore thing.
Yeah, very nasty shit. I love it.
Yeah, they've built
And
like
Harbinger changing from one to
oh,
the other. It's like a random bug every time. Ooh, it's good stuff. I
it's like
love it.
I will end you, and you just hear this creepy voice, and you're just like, oh, no, go away, go away. Um, it's yeah, the combat system, the inventory system, all refined. You run into Liara again. She's now running things on Ilium.
She's hmm
Ilium,
she's got a lot more responsibility.
Ilium. If Omega's South Philly, Ilium's kind of like the Hamptons of the galaxy.
It's very nice looking.
It is.
I like Ilium. It has one of my favorite like little side things with the Krogan trying to get back with the Asari
Oh
woman.
yeah, with the poetry.
I love that so much. That little thing where you could just go up to the girls like, look at him. He's dying over there. Just give him some love. He obviously loves you. It's so cute.
You meet the Krogan, the Asari bartender who's half Krogan and half Asari. That both her parents were like, they're gonna fight, and whoever wins, you have to love that one.
hmm
You get the Shadow Broker DLC. You find out of the whole thing about the Shadow Broker and that Liara was tracking him down. That her
Find out
assistant,
what the Shadow Broker is.
yeah, which was,
It was the escaped pet of the former Shadow Broker.
and you find that the Shadow Broker has been different people.
What?
But this race apparently is off limits by the Citadel because their social structure, like people who landed there, have pretty much been killed because you're supposed to be subordinate. They're smarter than everybody. I forget what the race is called, but they're scary.
That boss fight's super fun too.
Yeah, he's got like the big
Love
shield and like the thing.
Yeah, dude. Oh,
But I
and then it
like
ends with her just becoming the Shadow Broker. I
yeah,
love that. That DLC is a lot of fun. If the romance stuff is really corny sometimes, but I love romancing Liara and then doing the Shadow Broker DLC because a lot of it thematically just kind of makes sense. It's a very sweet love story that they go through.
one of my favorite lines is because of a change from game 1 to game 2 with using Omnigel, and the second one is I remember we used to smear Omnigel and everything.
Fun shit. I love it.
And Leo was like, "Yeah, everybody hated it when we got rid of that. When we did that upgrade." Yeah. So Liara takes over as the Shadow Broker. You know, if she's your lady. You know, again, sweet little things. You're fighting the collectors. You're finding out more about the Reapers. You're finding out they're snatching up humans. You've got to get to this lost relay. The elusive man not telling you shit. But
You
still
get to
being cool.
grunt.
You get to grunt. You get the perfect Krogan.
My sweet little angsty teenage Krogan boy. I love grunt so goddamn much.
The distilled essence was supposed to be the perfect Krogan, distilled from the Warlord Okir and all these different types. The mission to get him is okay. His loyalty mission is great because
Yes.
you get to go to Tuchanka.
You get fucking Rex. You get Rex. You see him, and he's the king. He's the fucking because of course he is.
And that whole thing where he talks about like Krogan social dynamics, he's like, we're gonna fix this. And again, one of my second favorite line in that game, I'll drag this clan to glory, one way or the other.
Love it, dude. Fucking great. I love Tuchanka. One of my favorite. Like every time you go to Tuchanka, something good always happens, especially in 3. God damn.
Yeah.
3 Tuchanka mission. Ooh.
You get to help Grunt become a man. Essentially. You know.
He becomes Urgnot, right?
Urgnot.
He becomes an Urgnot.
Clan. Well, he gets to choose his clan, but he chooses his Kranich and his War Master, which is you.
Mm-hmm.
But you get to fight a Thresher Maw.
Fun fight. Super fun fight.
Especially if you've got that collector beam.
Oh, dude, dummy things with the collector beam. That thing's busted.
The collector beam and the cane. If you've got enough juice for the cane and you cut that thing loose, whoo, clearing shit out.
Oh yeah.
Tally's loyalty mission is
that jumps into like the politics and stuff, like politics and social dynamics, and then it starts talking about the fucking Geth and how like that whole struggle. I think that's when it's first kind of like, okay, the Geth aren't that bad.
No, you find out that they created the Geth and that they're essentially, her father was trying to figure out what happened.
Mm-hmm.
And they weren't networking, and then something started happening, and then
people are stonewalling the investigation and what it should be.
Yeah. And there's the Quarians that want to like, okay, we need to wipe the Geth out. The other half want to try and understand them and figure out so they can maybe get their homeworld back.
Mm-hmm.
The whole thing, there's a debate. If your chat's high enough, you can exonerate Tally. She'll come with you. If your chat's not high enough, she gets exiled from the fleet, which sucks. My chat will always be high enough because I always lean on that in these games.
Oh yeah.
I will hustle my way out of there. I will represent Tally, and I'll be like, okay.
In a very good scene, I love that little shepherd speech that you can give about like Tally Vas Normandy.
Tally Vas Normandy. And then as you move on, you've got to go. It's the big mission. You collect everybody. Collectors show up. You run into this base. You move your teams out. I always have Garrus leading the other team.
Of course.
Because who else is going to run that team?
Yeah, he's the second guy.
Oh, I just forgot about Legion. I'm sorry. This is where more stuff about the Geth.
I love Legion so goddamn much. He's so cool.
You find out that, and it's a side. It's a loyalty mission. You find out that the Geth that were working for Saren were indoctrinated or chose to follow Saren, but the Geth in general really kind of were defending themselves. And you realize, and he says it, and you kind of don't believe it at first, but when he starts talking, you're like, "Oh, okay."
You spend hours mowing down Geth.
Yeah.
In the first one, and then in the second one, it's not like it comes out of nowhere. Like it totally makes sense.
Yeah.
When it's explained and everything, which is something I really like. Where it's like, okay, well, we know how powerful these Reapers are, and we know how intelligent they are, and it makes sense that the Geth would want to follow them because maybe we see how the Quarians treat them and how the rest of the galaxy treat them. They treat them like murderers, which is what they were at the point. But oh my god, beautiful.
Yeah, he opts to join your team. I forget about the upgrades to the Normandy. You've got an AI on board, which was verboten in the Alliance because of the Geth. You have Edie, voiced by Trisha Helfer, again, BSG
Amazing
alum.
performance. Amazing. Funny as hell.
Her and Joker are kind of getting along sometimes. Depends on when you talk to him.
Mhm.
Joker is enjoying his new private sector job and his comfortable chair.
Making a shit ton of money, making bank, vibing.
You got an AI doing most of the work for you. You got your ship getting upgraded. I mean,
I love their little quarrels though.
oh yeah,
And my favorite mission in 2 is when you play as Joker.
yeah. You've got to when the collectors show up and jump your ship. They just shipjack you. You get shipjacked.
Beautiful, like insanely tense, and it's like completely different from the rest of the game.
Oh
Like you're
yeah,
never playing as a different character, but it makes sense to do it in that area of the
and
story.
you have to be careful. Like if you go too fast, go too slow, that's it.
Exactly.
And it's
And
so
it's Joker who is established to be a frail little man. Like
Great Pilot has some, his Rolex syndrome and
yeah.
issues. You got the crew gets kidnapped. Dr. Chakwas too. Like, she's awesome. Your whole crew's awesome. I don't like the yeoman. I don't like her. I don't talk to her.
No, I was never a fan.
I
Wasn't
just
it someone like just I talk to her every now and then, but I always thought she was one of those Cerberus people with an agenda. Just
yeah.
saw right through her disguise. I was
She
like, you're
she's
not
she's reporting on you to the elusive man. So
really.
no. You go on your suicide. Yeah, Garrus leads my one squad. I send Zaid back with the folks that we find.
Oh,
Uh,
I always said Morden.
oh, really? Okay. I
Yeah,
usually
just to make sure he doesn't die. I was
send Warren
scared.
back. Legion goes into the tunnel because he's the engineer type.
Who's your biotic?
Usually through the tunnel. It's through the tunnel at Samara, but I have Jack with me.
Okay, gotcha.
And usually it's Jack or Grunt or
Mhm.
Jack or Thane. Sometimes I'll have Miranda just because I like to have the extra biotics, especially when you have that platform level and all the scions are there. I
Oh,
just
dude, just
shock
mow him down.
just
Oh my god.
shockwave just takes everybody out. I will have shockwave on my character, and everyone's just throwing them like, okay, yours is good.
Such a good ability.
Yeah.
Such a good one.
So and then you fight the Terminator Reaper, which I've pulled the cane out and taken that thing in one shot. I got
Yeah,
lucky when it moved its head and I just let the cane loose. Boom, done. We're out of here.
I love that. I love that goddamn weapon so much. It's so busted. I
I always
I don't
flash back
think
to
that
that.
I don't think that thing is a letdown, like the big dumb Terminator Reaper, but it is so goddamn goofy, isn't it? It's so weird.
I always think of the remember those Call of Duty commercials with Jonah Hill and Sam Worthington?
Yes, yeah.
Whenever I have the can out, I always have that line like where I blow up like "Happy birthday, mother!" and just boom. Two best console game of this generation, and it's giant recruitment missions. Every character solid. Talk to everybody, folks. You've saved the day. Hopefully, nobody's died. If you've played this game correct, if you've done everything correctly like you should, nobody should be dead.
I
Normandy's
wouldn't look up anything. Like, don't look up a who to pick what, because I think it makes sense to like who should go where in order for things not to go south.
of course
But it is interesting.
if you've played it correctly, you know who to send where. It just comes.
Morden and Jack died my first run.
Oh, geez. Okay.
They both died. It was very depressing, but
And then we move into the much discussed Mass Effect 3. It's 6 months later, I think.
yes.
You go back to the Alliance, and then they promptly yell at you, and basically you're placed under like house arrest. And
Yes, you're at the Alliance base and you're grounded.
in San Francisco, you're grounded. Like I guess you show back up, and they're like, "All right, you're in trouble now." They impound the Normandy,
Which is fair because Cerberus because at the end of 2, Elusive Man is like, we need to keep this.
Yeah,
You need you need to send this over.
yeah.
And it's the Reaper IDF, right?
It's the collector base and the Reaper IFF
Yeah.
that they hang on to. And then okay, so we're gonna dive a little bit into 3, but mostly we're gonna get into how people feel about this game because there was a lot of contention, there was a lot of hot takes. Big Dust, give me kind of a hot take to kick off how you feel about.
I find it weird that it is a hot take to say that 3 is a good game. Find it so weird.
I think it's a good game. As
I think it's absolutely fantastic game from top to bottom. It's great from not just from like the story perspective and the natural progression of the events throughout the series, but if we're talking about gameplay, like the cover shooting system, ooh, perfect. The weapons choices, the expansion on the inventory system where you can now, it kind of goes back to 1 where you can have more than 2 weapons, but there's the weight system where you can go like faster or slower depending on what you have.
in the fix your recharge, yeah.
Exactly. It is, and I just don't get it. I don't like, I know why people don't like it, obviously, because a lot of folks were disappointed, but to me, playing it and not having the bias of that, like of the court of public opinion, just playing through it, I was like, this is amazing. This is like the whole game has this nonstop, relentless pace
Yeah, I
where you're
mean,
just going one thing to the next, big event, big event, big event, character moments,
yeah.
natural progressions. It's
I mean,
interesting.
the start of it, I mean, they're still giving you shit about the Reapers. The Reapers show up and kick your ass. They show up and take your fucking lunch money.
It's immediately like, okay, Earth gone.
Yeah,
You're screwed. Nothing. Reapers are there.
yeah. I mean, you barely get out. Anderson stays behind, and the discussions with Anderson as the game goes on. It's like they're fighting a guerrilla war. Earth's getting fucked up.
The whole that it's not just Earth, it's
Yeah,
everywhere. That's the interesting bit. It's like you're talking to Garrus, which is the next mission. You
yeah.
go to the
Calvin.
Moon Turian homeworld, and Garrus is like, I don't know if my family's okay.
Yeah, you'd see
Joker's
Calvin
like,
from the moon, and Calvin.
Joker's like, I don't know if my family is alive. What you find out, they are not alive. Like, people are dying. The Citadel is in a wreck. It's
The new and then there's still politics because you've got the new head of the, I forget what they call the Primarch of Palavin is this old general guy. You've
mhm,
got we've still talking about like the genophage.
mhm.
That's still a thing. And you've still got these intergalactic politics of people wanting to help and not wanting to help.
And there's this crazy, like, there's this. I really love the political aspect of 3 because this is really interesting dynamic where a lot of folks are like, well, we have to do it like this, and you as the player have to work around it. But like a lot of characters that you're around are just like, this is bullshit. Why can't we just come together for once?
I know,
It, it's a beautiful message of like bringing everyone together no matter what. And you have to make sacrifices here and there. But even then, it's like, I love that aspect of the game, like the choices.
I mean, yeah, you go to Tuchanka, you fight a Reaper off there, the Genophage,
That mission,
yeah.
oh,
Even like the slow parts where you're kind of like walking through like these dark areas and you're hurling about like this thresher maw that's been around for thousands of years.
you have to summon the Thresher Ball to fight the Reaper.
Reaper.
Are you joking? Badass, dude. Oh my
You
god.
have this female that you've saved, the Krogan female, and Rex is like, all right, we're gonna this is what's gonna be what's gonna advance the Krogans into the next stage.
And all the Krogans are like, no, we don't want to do that. And then Rex has this beautiful fucking moment where he's like, in order to evolve, we have to move on. We have to advance. We can't stay as brutes. We have to be more.
And then Morden, and probably my third favorite line of that series had to be me. Someone else might have gotten it wrong.
Oh my God. What a beautiful scene, right?
Yeah, he just like, and you when you realize that he's going and he's not coming back, you're just like, mother, just
Dude, it's emotional. It's so well done. It makes complete sense thematically that would happen. It is a lot of these moments are the natural conclusion to the character's events. Like it just makes sense that Morden would sacrifice his life to stop it.
yeah. To essentially cure the genophage, which by steps will bring Krogans back to Tuchanka, which will rebuild Tuchanka, which will advance it. And Rex is the best guiding hand for this. If Rex has died in the first one, you fucked up. You need to go back and fix that.
Yes, because he's a leader. He's smart. He's not like, it's weird because my buddy, when I was talking to him about Mass Effect, he was like, I feel like there's like a weird character shift from 1 to 2 with Rex, and I don't disagree, but I think it makes sense because Rex in 1 is very much like, I want to get shit done. Like he sees what the genophage could do, like, and he sees like the horrors of it, and like him almost shooting Shepard, like that's his moment where he wakes up and is like, okay, I need to start like pulling up my goddamn shorts and getting the Krogan.
Yeah, and it's, I mean, there is a shift where he goes from not really wanting to, like, his dad tried to kill him, but then he realizes that he can lead the Krogan forward, and it's going to take a lot. But again, it's that great line: "I will drag this clan to glory." whether you want it to happen or not, this is happening. I think because it pisses off the other Krogan, that's his motivation.
Oh yeah, he's a little stinker.
And it's just, and then we get to all the things in 3. You go to Thessia, which is the Asari homeworld. Thessia gets messed up, but I wanted to go to Thessia. I wanted to see that, the Asari homeworld.
You learn about the Protheans and what they were.
Yeah,
they thought of them as gods, but it's just the Protheans. Like,
if you've got the DLC character, the Prothean, his he's like, I knew them when they used to eat bugs.
Nice. I love him. So good. Javik.
You run into your boy Grunt again. He's running his own company. And you get a call back to the Rachni Queen.
The Rachni Queen, where she's like begging you to save her life. Like,
which of course you do, and then the Rachni come help you. Like, the Rachni show up and the
Rachni work together with Krogan side by side. And that's something that's said throughout the whole entire game, like after that event happens, which is like insane if you think about it.
They sing, they find the harmonies, and it making it work. You get mercenaries on your side. You find boring ass Jacob, but Jacob found a lady, so maybe
good for him. I'm happy for him.
Yeah, and I bet you she's boring too. I bet you they're one of those couples that don't do anything. They just like sit home.
They just sit around, drink a cup of coffee together, read a book in bed.
they're that couple. Can't get them to come out. They're just boring, and that's
straight missionary, nothing else.
Missionary Friday nights, lights off, shirt, lights off, shirt on, no talking. Oh man. I'm sorry, not sorry, Jacob.
He'll live.
And then you find out about the whole sanctuary mission. Just scared the crap out of me, because you're like, oh, it's supposed to be this refuge, the galaxy's in this bad place. No, they're harvesting humans. It's horrifying.
It's a scary ass mission.
And then Miranda gets involved, and her dad again, and
and he's a scumbag. He's horrible. He's awful.
The galaxy is going to hell. You figured the least people could do is not be shitty to each other. But
But it's like Cerberus. It's Cerberus is trying to embrace it and try to like they're looking at the Reaper threat through a completely different lens of like we have to advance with them. We can't just
you know what? It's the Wayland Yutani thing in Alien where we can control.
yes,
It's that exact thing. We can control this. We can weaponize this. We can use it to our advantage and
that
further ourselves.
such a good comparison.
You get to go bust up the elusive man's crib. Uh, you fight the space ninja Kai Lang.
Who's everything that Shepard was supposed to be for Cerberus. He's like the exact opposite of him.
He's a little less so. He's just
He's nothing too special. I like him though. His boss fights are super fun.
yeah. No, the boss fight's very fun. I enjoy them.
And then he kills fucking Thane.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Well, Thane was on the. It's like Thane's dying anyway. Thane's on the way out, but he gets taken out by this.
He went out in his own terms.
Yeah,
which is fine, but goddamn, was it depressing?
And then you have to go to the hospital, and he
had the moment with his son.
Yeah.
Oh,
Kolyat comes up, and he thanks you for everything you've done, and Kolyat's there. So, oh geez. Thane.
There's a lot of that in this game. There's a fair amount of moments.
But like you said, it's the natural progression of where those stories go.
Exactly.
If the genophage was going to be cured, it was going to be Mordin, but there was going to be a price to be paid for it. You helped Tali reclaim the home world, and that's a whole thing between them and the Geth. You find out about what happened with the Geth. They became
and then Legion.
Legion. You go inside, like you go into the Geth network, and you see what happens.
A beautiful, beautiful mission.
Yeah, you see what happens, and you realize that they became self-aware, and they weren't sure if they didn't, or they were trying to figure out why did they do something wrong. Like it's like, oh, when you hear that, you're like, did
that tragic scene where like the Geth is on the fucking board.
Yeah.
And the Quarians are just like pissed off, and he's like, "Did I do something wrong?"
It's like,
it's like, God dang, it's like a child. They were their children,
And then again, if your chat's high enough, and it should be at this point, if you've played this game correctly, you fight a Reaper, but you can achieve peace between the Geth and the Quarians. Quarians get their homeworld back after 200 years, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And the Geth, there will be harmony. If you don't, Tali dies, and it sucks. But you also get if you get everything right, you get the Quarian fleet, the migrant fleet, and you get the Geth.
And you get the Geth fleet, which they're teaming up too. It's insane.
Yeah,
it's everyone's here. It's the Avengers Endgame of video games.
Folks, when we all work together, we could achieve some cool shit.
That's what it is. I love 3 for that. Like, I think that's like kind of the weird overarching theme of the entire like thing, where it's like if you work together as a group and as a unit, you can do amazing things.
I mean, and when you go back to Earth and the whole fleet shows up, like the Legion shows up with the Geth fleet, the migrant fleet are there.
Yes.
The mercenaries have shown up. They just want to fight. They don't care.
Mm-hmm.
What's left of the Asari.
If I can give this a shout out, the DLC, like huge thing, the Citadel DLC.
Yes.
Oh my! That should just be in the game.
I call it Metal Gear Solid Mass Effect version.
You know what it is to me? I think of it as Toy Story 2 Mass Effect.
Okay.
The whole plot line is just Toy Story 2, and I love that.
Okay.
But just the Buzz Lightyear part of Toy Story 2. It's filled with like jokes and like lightheartedness, which is like a really interesting, like kind of like, okay, let's cool down from like the whole seriousness of
because the galaxy's at war.
Exactly. But it's like, let's take shore leave, let's vibe, let's talk, let's have a party at the end of it.
I got this apartment, let's just wreck this place.
Exactly. It's super good.
Because that would be if I'm heading out to some mission like that and I have a big ass apartment like that, party is happening. Party,
And
party.
you have so many fun interactions with characters, that like you don't think would interact with each other, and
Yeah.
like super good, super good.
I always like the discussions between like Annie Krogan and Morden because it's always just it's awkward, but it's Morden's using logic, but it's not about it is about logic, but it isn't. And
I
Morden
love Rex giving off big dad vibes in the Citadel DLC. That's my favorite part of it. Is like you could bring Rex to that undercover dinner party,
yeah,
and he's like a shitty like Krogan. He's just vibing. Oh, dude, love it.
he is. I think that's like his whole thing. He's like big, gruff space dad.
Yes.
Because someone has to do it. He's been around forever. He appreciates Shepard and everybody, but keeps people in line when they need to be kept in line.
Love it.
Um, we eventually save the day, and Shepard. There's weird. Okay, with the endings. The ending was never important to me in the sense that that story was always going to be closed off a certain way. Be it Shepard dying, the relays being destroyed. There was always going to be. I don't think there was ever any ending that was going to make people happy. That's
What did people want? That's like if I could be accusatory to the fan base,
go for it.
what did people want? I think it just makes sense for the character. Like you have the three choices, and it just makes sense. It like what else do you want? And I get the understanding that like everyone's going to remember the ending, but even then I find no matter what light you pick, I still think the ending is satisfying because it is the conclusion. It's okay, we finally did it, we beat him. It's just you're choosing.
Yeah. I did like the ending where the relays get destroyed.
Mhm.
So the galaxy has to figure out how to now get around and work and commerce with each other without
that's
them.
my that's my personal go-to one.
Yeah.
I
I
think if you choose the middle one, I think you're kind of defeating the purpose.
yeah, you can't get everything.
Yeah.
Like everything has a choice. There's a sacrifice involved with everything. You can have the technology and the progress, but you're going to lose your soul, and you're going to lose something.
I think Shepard knew they were gonna die. You're right. Like throughout the whole entire third game, I think it was pretty obvious that the character, like this was their last hurrah. I don't think there was gonna be like a ride off into the sunset moment for them.
I think when you look at the progression of that game from being named a Spectre to everything you went through in the first game to dying to
Mhm.
being bought back by Cerberus to a suicide mission, uh the Reaper comes for us all, man, and Shepard ducked that for as long as they could.
Now, do you believe in the indoctrination theory?
That okay,
Do you
because I've
know about the indoctrination theory?
maybe because everyone I've read like two or three different theories. So why don't you give me what you have, and I will.
That Shepard is being indoctrinated by the Reapers throughout the events of 3, and the final scene when everything from the point where Shepard gets hit with the giant Reaper blast
Okay.
is all in his head, and it is all the Reapers trying to indoctrinate him.
From the blast when you're on Earth and running towards that beam.
Yes, and then you wake up and it's all blurry. That is the ongoing theory, and
I
everything there is in his head.
I don't. Um, it's solid. It's a good theory. Maybe I'm gonna give
I
it.
don't know if he dies, but I'm open to the idea that they were trying to indoctrinate him because I think that
Oh
makes
yeah,
sense. As
yeah,
the dream, like with the dream sequences,
yeah.
I think it just makes sense that that's what they were trying to do.
The Reapers always want assets. Saren was an asset. Everyone that they've
What better
indoctrinated.
asset than the fucking like the guy that took him out like 2 times?
Yeah. So exactly. I would follow that. Now with we will Andromeda is what it is. Play it if you I liked it, but people didn't. It's fine. It was kind of was
I
gonna
haven't played it. I didn't touch it.
okay. So there is gonna be another Mass Effect game. We all know this. Shortly before we wrap up, Dust, what would you like to see? Give me like one or two things you would like to see in a new game. Is there a direction you would like it to take?
I don't want it's gonna be what it is, but I don't want a continuation of Shepard's story. I think Shepard's story is done.
I
I
I,
want
I can agree.
something different, maybe involving less Andromeda of let's do something completely different,
Mhm.
and more so like a Force Awakens. Like let's introduce new characters with the old characters, bringing them up.
Yeah. I'd say what I'd like to see, and you said Force Awakens, give me 200 to 300 years later, because we've
Yep.
seen Liara. Liara is 400 or 500 years old.
Yes.
Um, give me, I don't need like a direct, give me maybe someone who is connected to Shepard. I'm fine with that, or someone who is in their orbit, maybe just someone they worked with or someone they
Yeah.
knew.
I don't want like I feel like if it's Shepard again, I just like I don't want that. Like their story is done. We've had 3 games, countless hours, you know. I think it's time for like a new story. I
It's,
don't know if it's like Shepard's kid, which I think would make sense,
I would
but
say leap it ahead a couple hundred or so years, but
Mhm.
put the galaxy in a place where the galaxy has had to rebuild itself.
Yes.
It's a couple hundred, like make it
Let's go
200.
to the part in the ending of Mass Effect where the kids are sitting staring at the stars talking about Shepard.
Yeah.
Let's go there.
Yeah.
That's what I think.
We don't need big galaxy ending stakes. Just give a nice, maybe the alliance or something is in trouble and you're trying to just fight whatever
That's
that
what,
is.
in a way, I don't want a big stupid space opera. I feel
No.
like there's like a lot of that. I think it'd be interesting to kind of like I didn't play Andromeda, but I love the concept, the original concept of Andromeda, which was like they just vibe. They just set out and
Yeah.
like colonize these worlds and just discover. I love that concept so
Yeah.
much. So if I'm making a Mass Effect game, that's what I would do. And maybe there's like a like a threat, something that's like capturing all these people, and it's like, okay, we gotta stop them. You know?
The unknown reaches of the galaxy.
Yeah.
Get away from the Milky Way or
It's
maybe
either it's either let's go back to the Milky Way and let's see what's happened, or let's do something completely different and just have Liara and maybe a couple of ancestral characters to bump it up. I definitely think that that's what they should do. I want some legacy characters in there to kind of bump the cast up.
I mean, you can still have Liara, you can still have Grunt. They'll both still be alive because the
Yeah.
Krogans apparently live for a long time. You can probably still have Samara depending on her story. So there are ways you can go. I'm excited to see whenever that happens. Remaster will be out this year. I think we've kind of really dug into it. Dust, thank you so much, man. We could have probably gone longer, but I think we covered everything.
Absolutely.
Um,
Thank you for having me. I always love talking about this stuff. I adore this series from the bottom of my heart. It has a very special place in me.
it
So
is. I,
thank
I I remember I normally with big games like that, it was just all right. I was like, it's something new. Let me pop this in. It was like when Halo dropped in the Xbox, and
you.
the first
Yes.
screen comes up, and you hear like the oh, and you're like,
And
oh,
you know right away, like this is something special.
yep. Folks says, where can people find you online, Dust?
You can find me on Twitter at Big Dust underscore, and you can find me on Instagram at the same exact handle. You can catch me on IWTV's Camp Leapfrog, as well as many other spectacular shows. Doing a lot. Make sure you check out me and Killian McMurphy's Big Goddamn Cinematics. Some very awesome things. I think it's pushing the limits of what a professional wrestling match could be. And that's why I love it. We just defended the championship a little bit ago in a podcast, the
Okay,
first ever podcast title defense. Big
nice.
fan of that. Um, we're doing some really introspective stuff over there. But yeah.
And you've got your Twitch stream as well.
Yes. Twitch.tv/big dust underscore. Big fan of that. I'm playing Persona 5 right now. Play the Royal. Once the Mass Effect comes out, I'm probably gonna blast through those games. I'm also playing Elder Scrolls Oblivion with Killian for the first time. It's a lot of fun.
Oh, so you got Killian off a Sonic game and got him into something else.
He's a big Elder Scrolls guy, so
yeah, it was never my thing. I'll watch people play it and kind of have pithy jokes, but it was never my thing. I enjoy looking at it, but I don't have the maybe patience for it.
That's fair. It's a very grindy session, but yeah. Thank you for having me so much.
You can find me online at Matt P. Douglas, YouTube, Turnbuckle Bandwagon, subscribe, comment, like. I'm gonna probably maybe make this an audio one too, so I'll throw it on the old podcast machine, and maybe Big Dust and I will find another subject to do this again.
Hell yeah, I'm all down for it. Well,
folks, Dust, thank you so much for your time, and y'all have a good one out there.
All right.